Hi, I'm Brad Geddes. In this video edition of the Search Engine Land Paid Search column, we're going to examine how to test ad copy that has little volume. Ad copy testing is essential to optimizing any AdWords account. When you have a lot of volume in an account, it's very simple then to write a few different ads and test the click-through rates, the cost per actions, the profit per impressions for each of those ads independently. However, if your account does not have a lot of volume, does not receive a lot of clicks and a lot of impressions, then you can still test and you can still receive the benefits of testing. You just need to take a slightly different approach to how you set up and measure a test. When testing low volume accounts, instead of testing completely different ad copies, instead test different calls to action, different benefit messages, or unique selling propositions across multiple ads at once. So the first step to testing a low volume account is first identify the ad groups where you want to run the tests. Now, since you're going to run 2 or 3 different benefit messages or 2 or 3 different calls to actions in multiple ad groups, you want to make sure those ad groups contain keywords that are driving very similar conversion actions for you, have very similar overall messages. So they may all focus on a newsletter subscription. They may all focus on a company benefit message. They might all focus on delivery times or free shipping. But you want to be able to identify some ad groups where you're okay using certain aspects of an ad across multiple groups at once. So navigate through your AdWords account and choose a few of those ad groups. So once you've chosen a few of those ad groups, the next step is to sit down and write 2 or 3 benefit messages, 2 or 3 different calls to action. Some lines you're going to test across multiple ad groups at one time. Once you've chosen these items, there's a few ways you can add these ad copies to your account. One is through the interface. Now this is probably the longest and hardest way to do it and the easiest to make mistakes. Because if you want to test the exact same benefit message, you don't want to just type in the interface where you may have a period in one ad copy, an exclamation point in a different ad copy, because they won't truly be the same lines. So the easiest way is to download this to the AdWords editor. Here you can select multiple ads at once where you want to test your benefit message. Then in your description line 2, type in benefit message 1 that you've written. Next, choose the next set of ads that you want to test, select them in the AdWords editor, and then type in your other benefit message you want to test against this. This is fun if you're doing 2 or 3 benefit message or call to action tests across 2, 3, 4 ad groups. If you're testing a lot of ad copies at once, and you're doing a lot of long tail testing, and you might want to do testing across 10s, 20s, or hundreds of ad groups, there are tools that can help you out that do automatic variable replacements within ad copy to make this much quicker in creating tests across multiple ad groups at once. So once you've finished writing these, then your AdWords editor file or in the interface, post the changes and make everything live. Next, let these ad groups collect data for a while. Since these ad groups don't have a lot of data, you might just want to let these tests run for 2 to 4 weeks. It's okay to do monthly testing. Now once you have enough data overall, then go on ahead and run an ad copy report so we can start examining the data. So go to the Ads tab. The only data you truly need is clicks, impressions, cost, conversions, and total conversion value. For this analysis, we're going to assume that you're passing the actual value of a conversion back to AdWords. If you're not, then you might want to just multiply the number of conversions you received by your average profit per conversion to determine total conversion value in the report. So once you create these, then it's time to download the information. Now always make sure that you segment content versus search in these reports. So do segment out by network first, because you don't want to look at the display network and the search network combined. Now your ad group should only be set to search or display, so this should be easy to filter out. So the next we'll have a big Excel file that includes all of our overall data, our ad copy lines, our impressions, clicks, cost, so forth. Now what we want to do here is recombine the data by each ad copy line we were testing. So let's say we ran a lot of ad copy tests where we were just testing description line 2 benefit messages. Well, if we had this across 6 different ad groups, we'd want to recombine how those ad copies did to see how that benefit message did against all the ads that used a different benefit message line. So this is really easy to do in Excel. We're going to create a pivot table. So select all of your data, go to Insert, click on Pivot Table. Since you've already selected all the data, just hit OK. And if you're new to pivot tables, refer to this search engine land column, which I'll link to at the bottom of the post. It's a great column by Josh Streiler on how to create pivot tables and their uses. So now we have a pivot table, and we're testing description line 2. We first want to choose description line 2. Now this is a test, but I have anonymized the advertiser's data so as not to show their unique information. We want to see clicks, impressions, our conversions, and our total conversion value. Now, it's not useful to see these in a big line, so instead, in the corner, just drag and drop these. So now we can see by each line these various values. Now, we don't want to see count of clicks, we want to see the sum of clicks, the total number of clicks that was received. Same for impressions, we want to see the sum of impressions. We want to see the sum of conversions. We also want to see the sum of the total value. And then finally, we'd also want to add cost. So let's make sure we have our sum of cost data. So now we have summary data for each line. Now there's a couple ways we could work from here. We could do some complex Excel formulas to normalize the data based upon impressions and aggregates and so forth. Instead of going through that really hard work and explaining that in Excel, I'm just going to make this the simple version. So I'm just going to copy this information and hit Control-C. We'll paste this into a new sheet. Now when we paste it, we don't want to leave all these formulas from the pivot table with the information. So just paste values. So now it's time to go ahead and drive a few formulas to determine which of these description lines really is the best one to use. So our most important metrics are click-through rate, conversion rate, cost per action, and finally, profit per impression or profit per click. So to drive these values, it's very simple. For click-through rate, it's your clicks divided by your impressions. We do want to see these columns in percentages, so just make them percentages. Now we can go ahead and see the click-through rate of every one of these ad copies. Next we have conversion rate. Again, a simple formula. Number of conversions divided by clicks. We copy these down and see all of our conversion rates. Our CPA, or cost per action, another simple formula, sum of cost divided by the number of conversions. And then finally, profit per impression number, which is one of my favorite metrics for testing, because that way it takes out the guesswork between high or low click-through rates versus high and low conversion rates. To drive profit per impression, we'll take the sum of total conversion value, just divide it by impressions. So now it's easy to see for each of these combinations which one receives the highest value on an impression basis. So on an impression basis, overall, 77 cents is much better than 7 cents or 2 cents. However, this combination does not have a huge amount of data yet. 369 clicks is an okay number. It's a basic number. But in this case, we'd probably want to look through our major metrics. Are we looking at click-through rate? Well, click-through rate, this combination has by far the highest click-through rate. In fact, it's not even close to anything else. But it has very little overall clicks compared to some of the other combinations. Its conversion rate is much better. Its cost per action, in fact, is so much better, you'd almost want to double check this combination just to make sure your conversion tracking was installed correctly. In this case, I know it is, but you would definitely want to check that. And this is by far our overall best combination. This ad description line here, which is 9 cents profit per impression, a nice conversion rate, a nice CPA, would be our overall second best combination. Now, if you're new to profit by impression, you can visit our blog and read exactly what profit per impression or profit per click is, which is our two favorite testing metrics. Then once we decided our overall best test, whatever our major metrics were, was it click-through rate, conversion rate, CPA, or profit per impression, profit per click? And the best will depend on your business goals and your advertising goals. Once you've decided that, then go ahead and pause and delete the ads that do not use those benefit lines or those call to action lines. Save the ones that have the best metrics for you, and do another test using the exact same methodology. So even low volume accounts can still benefit from testing. And since testing is so essential to growing and optimizing any account, this cross-ad group testing method should help you optimize ad groups, keywords, ad copy, so forth, that don't individually receive a lot of data, but in aggregate they do have enough information for you to test and continue increasing your AdWords account's profits.